Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome, everyone. Salute, 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 salute. I hope everyone is having a blessed and productive Monday. It is a very chilly day here in Georgia. Chilly and windy. Some we got some winter. Is projected a winter storm is headed this way. So I hope everyone takes precautions and gets prepared for this this weather that's headed our way. Everyone, make sure you hit that like button, and if you haven't subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button and that notification bell. Um, Georgia has upgraded. Georgia has upgraded on offense. They went out and they got the 5-star hybrid, uber talented Zachariah Branch from USC. And when I tell you this kid is explosive, he is explosive. Yes, indeed, he's explosive. So the Georgia Bulldogs upgrade. And also some great news coming in this morning. Kristen Miller, defensive lineman Chris Miller, has decided to return to UGA for another season. He's not going anywhere. His heart is with the Dogs. He's determined. He says he wants to win a chip here with the Dogs. So Kristen Miller will remain. Haven't had any other news as far as any other movement in the transfer portal, but this was huge. But how huge is it? How do you feel about this move that Georgia made in the transfer portal? How do you feel about it? Get your popcorn ready. We're going to discuss it. Armando Black, and this is the Dog Call. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to the Dog Call. I'm your host, Armando Black, and we're discussing the blockbuster move, the big movement in the transfer portal. Georgia Bulldogs upgrade. They go in the portal and they get some much needed help on offense. They get an explosive weapon in Zachariah Branch. Before we get into that, I would like to first take the time to offer my deepest condolences and sympathy to the Kirby Smart and the Smart family. And as a lot of you know, Kirby Smart lost his father, Sonny. Uh, and for those of you that don't know the history, Sonny taught Kirby everything he knows about the game of football. He coached Kirby. He's been with Kirby every step of the way in his football career as a kid, through little league, middle school, JV team, high school. Um, he was there every Saturday at all of Kirby's games when he attended the University of Georgia. He's been with Kirby every step of the way during Kirby's coaching career. Um, Kirby lost his father. He was not just a father to him, he was also a best friend and a mentor to him as well. And it reminds me, when I think about the relationship that Kirby and Sonny had, it reminds me of the relationship that me and my father had. I can relate to Kirby and relate to what Kirby is going through right now. I lost my father back in 2020. My father taught me everything about the game of football. He taught me how to hold the football properly, how to put your fingers in between the laces. Uh, he taught me how to throw the football. He taught me how to catch, the proper way of catching it, how to catch it. Taught me everything about the game of football. He encouraged me to play uh, recreational football, encouraged me to go out for the high school football team when I was in high school. Now, although unlike Kirby, I did not pursue my football career through the collegiate, nor did I go into coaching. I did a little coaching, volunteer coaching on the side back in my hometown in my old neighborhood in East Alabama, but I did not do any organized coaching on the level of, let's say, as high school or college or anything like that. But I learned a lot about the game of football from my father, so I can relate to what Kirby is going through. Uh, that's I can tell. I tell. That's why I tell everyone when I end my shows: take care of yourselves and each other, and also love on your parents. If you're blessed enough to still have your parents here in your life, they're still around. Don't take that for granted. Don't take any moment that you have with your mother and father for granted. Always, always love on them, cherish them. Make sure you give them their flowers while they're here, because when they're gone, they're gone. You only have one mother and one father, and when they are gone, that is it. All the crying and hooping and hollering and everything, once they are laid to rest, it's too late. Love on them while they're here. Appreciate them while they're here. Spend as much time with them as you here. Look, when my father was alive and he would call, sometimes I didn't want to hear his mouth, but I would listen. I would listen because I knew one day the day would come where I would wish that I could sit down and have a conversation with my father. One more conversation with my father. Not a day goes by that I don't wish I could pick up my phone. And I still have my father's phone number in my phone, locked in my phone. And it's not a day that doesn't go by that I don't wish that I could pick up the phone and call him and just, tell him how much I love him and just have some, deep discussions and pick his brains about life. you know. So that's just a teachable moment that I would like to share with all of you. So yeah, and once again, my condolences, my heartfelt condolences and best wishes to the Kirby Smart and the Smart family. Now, Sonny Smart was a great man, and he's going to be truly be missed. For here, everyone that that's a UGA fan, that's a UGA fan in the UGA family. We all know how close those two were. It was a unbelievable bond, more than just a father son bond. Those two were inseparable, and my heart goes out to Kirby Smart because trust me, brother, I know exactly what you're feeling right now. I lost my father back in 2020, And me and my father, we had the same type of relationship that you and your father has. Now, moving on to the subject, the Dawgs upgrade in the transfer portal. And I've had a couple of people that hit me up in my DMs and ask me, Armando, how do you feel? You know, a lot of people, looking for me to go live yesterday when the announcement was made. And I wanted to wait until later on this evening to actually voice my opinion on how I felt about the move in the transfer portal. And I'm going to go ahead and then share how I feel about it. I think it's a great move. It's a much needed move. If you cannot, if the defenses don't respect your passing game down the field, your downfield passing game, then they're going to load the box. They're going to load the box. Notre Dame didn't do anything special. They basically have done what teams have been doing all season. They basically did what Bama did. They did the same thing that Ole Miss did. They did the same thing that Texas did. It didn't work for Texas. They did the same thing that Florida did for 3.5 quarters. The only difference is Florida stopped in the fourth quarter and they started playing zone late in the fourth quarter for some reason. Georgia Tech did it. Same thing with Georgia Tech. They did it. But I think Georgia Tech was a little bit overzealous, and Georgia Tech did not have the secondary, the personnel in the secondary that Notre Dame has, and that is why Carson Beck was able to carve them up late in the fourth quarter and in overtime. And now Georgia has a weapon, a viable weapon down the field. And also just remember, Kobe Young will be back for the 2025 season. He will be returning. So that's another threat. Arian Smith has not made an announcement yet or whether or not he's going in the NFL. If I'm not mistaken, he has one more year of eligibility left. Dylan Bell definitely has another year of eligibility. Haven't heard anything on whether or not he's going to enter the transfer portal or whether or not he's going to try his luck into the NFL. My opinion, Dylan Bell needs to come back and develop more because he had a terrible year in 2024. Terrible. Not mediocre, not bad. It was terrible. Too many damn drops. And I don't know if the injuries had anything to do with it. I know he had an ankle. He sustained an ankle injury, but an ankle injury ain't got a damn thing to do with your hands. And you're dropping on uncontested balls. These are not 50-50 balls that Dylan Bell was dropping. He was dropping uncontested balls. So he definitely needs to come back and develop. I can see him improving, making a huge improvement and stepping up and having a damn good senior year. Arian Smith, if Arian Smith returns, that would be a great thing for the Georgia Bulldogs. Because you can never have enough weapons. The teams that are loaded with weapons on offense usually be the teams that are the last team standing, or usually the teams that can go the deepest in the playoffs. No defensive coordinator would want to blitz a team that has multiple weapons all across the board, and that's something that Georgia has not had since 2022. Go back to that 2022 season. Georgia was loaded all across the board. Brock Bowers, Larry McConkey, A.D. Mitchell, Kyrus Jackson, Arian Smith, Dylan Bell, they were loaded. Darnell Washington, they were loaded. You could not load the box on Georgia 2 years ago. You just couldn't do it. 2-3 years ago, double dog dare you to load the box. Todd Monken would double dog dare teams to load the box, and Stetson Bennett was going to carve you up down the field with one of those weapons that we had down the field. But we didn't have that last year, simply because they were not getting separation. The receivers that we had, they were not getting the separations. And let's just be honest. It was lacking speed. That receiver room was lacking speed. The only speedster that we had uh, was Arian Smith. Now, Anthony Evans, who also entered the transfer portal last night, he didn't he's a speedster, but he was not a good route runner. All right. What I mean by, as far as starters, the only receiver that was capable of getting separation down the field was Arian Smith. Dylan Bell is not that fast. Dominique Lovett is definitely not that fast. Not, I mean, if you timed him, I would guess he probably would be at a 4.7. He is not fast at all. Not at all. He is no threat down the field. Dylan Bell, he has a little speed, but nothing like Arian Smith. Arian Smith has world-class speed. And Arian Smith could be an NFL receiver if he could catch the damn ball. He just does not have good hands. And I'm hoping if he does decide to come back, or whichever route he goes, if he goes to the NFL or if he decides to come back, that he goes to some camp and works on his catching skills. His catching skills. That's the only thing that's lacking in his game, is catching skills. He has God-given speed, God-given ability to get separation from any DB in the country. Hell, on the planet, to be honest with you. A team like the Kansas City Chiefs would love to have a receiver like Arian Smith, a downhill, down the field, deep threat weapon that can just blow the top off any defense. But he just can't catch for some reason. And that can be worked on. That can be cleaned up. But if he decides to come back, that will be a huge plus. Now, I know some Georgia fans are probably saying, "Oh, well, I hope he go on in the NFL. I hope he go on." You don't. Because what happened with Arian Smith in 2024, that can be cleaned up. See, some things you can help, you have control over, and some things you just don't have control over. Like, some receivers are just not fast. They just don't have the speed. Or they're not good route runners. Arian Smith is a good route runner, and he has the speed. Those are two major pluses. He just needs to work on his catching skills, his ball catching skills. And that can be worked out if you have the right person on the staff to work with him. And that goes into my next part of the conversation. And I hear a couple of dogcasters, they're, pro Mike Bobo. Mike Bobo is not the problem. Mike Bobo is not the problem. I'm not saying that Mike Bobo is the main problem. Let's just say that. I'm not going to say that Mike Bobo is the main problem. But he is a part of the problem. The play calling is just too vanilla. It's just too predictable. He has no creativity. Mike Bobo is the type of coordinator. He can get you to the SEC championship game. Hell, he could get you to the playoffs. But there will be an early round exit. He is not a national championship type of offensive coordinator. Right now, he's not. Now, I could be wrong. He could prove me wrong in 2025. He could definitely prove me wrong. But from my eye test and from him being the coordinator under Mark Richt over at Auburn, even when he was at Colorado State and when he was the few years he spent in South Carolina, and since he's been back with us, he's not a national championship winning offensive coordinator. Now, all these dogcasters, they can just, they can make all kinds of excuses for him. And where's the receivers who are dropping the ball? And this and that. I mean, so what about 2023? What about 2023? When we played a weak ass schedule, the first 11 games, I'm sorry, well, the 12 games, we played a weak ass schedule. Went in the SEC championship game. Well, we finally saw a legit defense in the Alabama Crimson Tide, and he laid an egg. Mike Bobo had a terrible play calling performance that day. No creativity. None whatsoever. And the one time that he did try to get creative, it was at the wrong time. Why the hell would you run a reverse when you're deep in your own territory? It's some things that he calls at the wrong damn time. Like the decision to be aggressive before halftime. That was Mike Bobo's call. And Kirby just went along with it. That is one time that Kirby should have put his foot down and been conservative. And been like, hell no, we're just going to run the clock out and go in at halftime only down 6-3. So now, do I want Mike Bobo fired? No, I don't think he should be fired. I think he should remain on the staff because I do believe that Mike Bobo has great chemistry with Gunnar Stockton. I saw that also in the Sugar Bowl. I do believe Mike Bobo and Kirby has good chemistry. You want your head coach to have good chemistry with the offensive coordinator and the defensive coordinator. You want your head coach to be able to have a staff that he can get along with. You don't want no friction on the staff because guess what? That will mess up the chemistry with the team. So you want your head coach to have men on his staff that he can trust and that he believes in. And Kirby believes in Mike Bobo. He believes in him. I think it just needs to be some tweaking done to the staff. Like now, I think the main problem is the line. That O-line is the biggest problem right now. I don't give a damn what receiver you bring in. You can bring in Jeremiah Smith, Tez Johnson, Zachariah Branch. Hell, you can go bring in some Hall of Famers, Terrell Owens and Randy Moss and Michael Irvin. You can have them as your receivers. But if you got an O-line that can't block worth a damn, that ain't doing you no good. It ain't doing you a bit of good. You can have the best wide receiver core, but if your line is garbage, you're defeating the purpose. Georgia's biggest problem right now is their O-line. See, the drops can be fixed. That can be fixed. The route running can be improved. The explosiveness down the field can be improved. Just a little tweaking to the play calling. But that performance by that O-line in 2024, unacceptable. They play like trash in 2024. Look at the first half performance. That is why we was always trailing at halftime. 9 games. Well, 10, if you include the Sugar Bowl. 10 games. We trailed at halftime. That means the only games that we really led at halftime was Tennessee Tech and UMass. So the rest of the games we were trailing at halftime. That's pathetic. That's unacceptable. That's the main problem. That's our biggest problem. That line has to be straightened out. Now, the O-line's coach, the last 2 years, this O-line has regressed. I noticed it in 2023 because we didn't really rush the ball that well in 2023. We didn't really pass protect that well in 2023. It wasn't as bad as 2024, but I saw the decline in 2023, and it really showed up in the SEC championship game in 2023. So that O-line's coach, I would have to get a new one. You gotta get up out of there. You gotta get up out of there. Rushing was terrible. The pass protection was mediocre. The run blocking was terrible. And it's unacceptable when you got an O-line full of 5 stars. That tells me that whoever the Lions coach was half-ass developing these kids. So he would have to go. So all of you screaming about Mike Bobo needs to be fired and Mike Bobo, no. That Lions coach is the one that needs to be kicked to the damn curb ASAP. Because look what Matt Luke is doing at Clemson. That O-line has improved for Clemson. Compare 2024 to the last 2 years. That O-line has improved. They improved. That was the biggest problem against Notre Dame. Yeah, we had drops. Yes. Yes, we had drops. Hell, we've been having drops all season. There were games that we had more drops than we did in the Sugar Bowl, and we still won. We had drops in both Texas games, and we still won both of those games. The issue was in the trenches. Football is like wars. They are fought, won, and lost on the ground. If you're not able to run the damn ball, you're going to have a long day. If you're not able to run the ball, if you're not able to run block, in this today's college football world, you won't make it to the playoffs. And if you do, you'll have an early round exit, like what happened to us. And let's just be honest, everyone. Let's just be totally honest. We were 11-2. I'm sorry, 10-2, but we really easily could have been 8-4. We really could have easily been 8-4. That close from being 8-4. Let me refresh your memory. Kentucky choked. We should have lost that game to Kentucky. Mark Stoops choked. If he'd had a little bit more balls as a head coach, they would have won that game. Georgia Tech choked. For whatever reason, Brett Key went from being aggressive late in the fourth quarter. He took his foot off the gas. When Haynes King scored that last touchdown and they went up, if I'm not mistaken, they went up 27-13, he took his foot off the gas. Instead of being aggressive and keeping men in the box, he quit blitzing, and Carson Beck carved that secondary up. It was almost like they went to playing prevent. And Carson Beck made them pay. But Notre Dame did not do that. Notre Dame stayed aggressive. They kept blitzing. They kept applying the pressure. That's what you do. And that's something that Brent Keys did not do. And that's how Georgia Tech ended up losing that game. We actually should have been 8-4. We overachieved, if you ask me. So I'm not that upset. Am I a little hurt about us losing to Notre Dame? Yes. But am I devastated like I was with the 2nd and 26 in 2017? Or like I was when we lost the SEC championship game in 2018 to Bama? Or like I was when we lost the SEC championship game in 2023? That hurt. Because I actually felt like we were the better team. We were the better team. in the Sugar Bowl. After that game, I really didn't feel. I was a little hurt as a fan, but I wasn't devastated because I knew. Because as a Georgia fan, I'm very honest with myself. I knew that we were actually lucky to be SEC champions. We were actually lucky to be in that position because we could have easily been 8-4 and sitting at home along with Ole Miss and Bama and South Carolina. We could have easily been like that. And I've said it all season. That 2024 was Kirby's worst football team since he's been at Georgia. Talent-wise. Talent for talent. Pound for pound. That 2024 Georgia Bulldogs team was the worst team under Kirby. Under the Kirby era. And I'm including the 2016 team. That 2016 team, the reason why, if I'm not mistaken, they finished with 8-5 that season. It's a transitional year, transitioning to a new head coach and a new coaching staff. A couple of players were injured that season. A couple of players were just coming back from injuries. You had a couple of transfers that joined the team that season. So the chemistry had not gelled yet. The team had not gelled yet under Kirby. And it wasn't a coincidence that that 2016 team, the following year, came that close to winning a national title. Should have won a national title if it went for a couple of things. One lucky Hail Mary, second 26, and the referees screwing Georgia. Because we all know that Tyler Simmons was not offsides. We all know that. And Bama fans know that too. So, and this notion that Georgia is on the decline, that the Georgia Bulldog football program is on the decline, I think Paul Feinbaum made that comment. Now listen, I'm a Paul Feinbaum fan. I've been on Paul Feinbaum several times, for those of you that don't know. I've been on Paul Feinbaum's show several different times, and I've had conversations with Paul Feinbaum. He's a nice fellow. But his knowledge of football, he goes where the wind blows. He's like that wind outside right now. He blows in he just goes in the direction of whatever team is hot. So now he's picking Notre Dame to win the national title. Where a couple of weeks ago he was saying Notre Dame didn't have no business in the damn playoffs. But now Notre Dame is his pick to win the national title. Really? And I'm gonna hold my thoughts on the Orange Bowl and the Cotton Bowl. I'm gonna be speaking on those in the coming days, and as like I announced last week, we will be doing a watch party for both games, a live watch party for the Orange Bowl and the Cotton Bowl. We'll be doing a live watch party right here on the Dawg Call. I was going to do that either way, even if whether Georgia won or not. I was going to do the watch party. So, and I'll drop the link. So if anyone want to come up on the panel and join me, and we discuss the game, you're more than welcome to. But Paul Feinbaum made a comment and said that Georgia was on the decline. And let me just refresh your memory. To all of you clowns that are out there saying, and I'm not calling Paul Feinbaum a clown. I'm talking about these Florida podcasters, these Big 10 podcasters, these Big 12 podcasters, these Bama podcasters. You know who I'm talking about. Remember, Georgia has only lost 4 games in the last 3 years. Let me say this again. Georgia has only lost 4 games in the last 3 years. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. Georgia gave up 17 points in 51 seconds. That tells you that the ball bounced funny, a blown assignment, a blown blocking assignment. An ill-advised low short kickoff by Woodgreen and a missed tackle by Cash Jones. Take away everything I just said, and we're having a totally different conversation. The conversation would be about, oh, what our Dawgs going to be looking like against Penn State in the Orange Bowl. Because the way I look at it, and this is no shade or no hate on the Notre Dame fan base, congratulations once again on winning the Sugar Bowl. But what happened in New Orleans was more about Georgia beating themselves than Notre Dame beating Georgia. This notion that Notre Dame dominated Georgia is a bunch of BS. It's a bunch of bull. Because if you take away those 17 points, that was scored in 51 seconds. Once again, blown assignment by the left tackle and an ill-advised low and short kickoff to start off the second half. Take away both of those and Notre Dame's only scored 6 points. When I think about dominating, I'm thinking about what Texas did to Arizona State in the first half. When I think about dominating, see, some of you clowns need to learn the definition of dominating. Dominating is what Ohio State did to Oregon from start to finish. That's dominating. Notre Dame did not dominate Georgia. They were kicking field goals most of the night. In the second half, they had a kickoff return that should have never happened. Other than that, they only kicked 2 field goals in the second half. So I don't understand why the hell these dumb clowns, one by one, were going live talking about Notre Dame dominated Georgia. Unnecessary roughness. Those clowns over there, and there's some Georgia haters. They've been Georgia haters for the last 3, 4, 5 years. The On 3, Andy and Ari, those 2 clowns. Those 2 Big Ten loving clowns. Talking about Georgia's on the decline. Georgia ain't on no decline. And Notre Dame did not dominate my Georgia Bulldogs. We beat ourselves. Now, if we'd have took an ass whooping, anytime that my team take an ass whooping, I'll own up to and say, hey, we got an ass whooping. And that was Ole Miss. That's the only team that really decisively kicked our ass for 60 minutes. Ole Miss. I will not concede to the fact that Notre Dame dominated my Georgia Bulldogs because they didn't. It was self-inflicted miscues that cost us that game. Things happened in 51 seconds. And if you are a Notre Dame fan and you want to believe that Paul Feinbaum is right about you winning the national title, him saying that Notre Dame is going to win the whole thing, to you Notre Dame Fighting Irish fans, it sounds good. It sounds good. But in real life, that ain't going to happen against Penn State or Ohio State or Texas. Do you honestly think you're going to be able to win a national title by only kicking 2 field goals in the second half of a playoff game. If you believe that, I got a bridge to sell you in North Gwinnett County. But once again, no shade and no hate. Congratulations on the win in the Sugar Bowl. And also, ask yourself this question. For all of you Notre Dame fans that's running around here, ready to throw. See, this is the biggest win you've had since New Year's 1989. This is the biggest win of Notre Dame's program. That was the biggest win y'all had since the days of Tony Rice, Rocket Ismail, Ricky Waters, and Chris Zorich was in a Notre Dame uniform. And that was almost 40 years ago. The last time y'all been this close to a national title. But just remember this one thing. Remember, the last 2 teams that beat Georgia, Bama and Ole Miss, what happened to them the following week? Huh? The week after Bama beat Georgia, they went up to Nashville and took a L. The week after Ole Miss beat my Georgia Bulldogs, they went down to the swamp in Gainesville and took a L. So, if you go by pattern in history, Notre Dame fans, it don't look good to you. And just like you Notre Dame fans, Bama fans were celebrating like they just won the Super Bowl, and Ole Miss fans were celebrating like they just won the Super Bowl, rushing all out on the field. And the players were going and doing interviews, celebrating. The fans were patting them on the back, telling them how great they were and how wonderful they were. And those clowns them same clowns on ESPN were picking both of them to go on and win the national title. Oh, they did this to Kirby Smart defense and the Georgia Bulldogs. Oh, they got to be the favorite to go on and win the national title. Until a week later, they got hit with the harsh reality. 6 points, 2 field goals in the second half. Now, I could be wrong, but I'm just telling you, I'm a football guy. I've been watching football damn near my whole entire life. I don't see that happening to that Penn State team. Because just like Notre Dame, Penn State has not been this close to a national title in almost 40 years also. You got to go all the way back to 1986. Sun Devil Stadium. Well, January 1987. Sun Devil Stadium. DJ Dozier. Joe Paterno. Taking down the mighty, powerful Miami Hurricanes. Michael Irvin. Jerome Brown. Y'all remember that team? Benny Testaverde. Benny Blades. Y'all remember that team? So, hey, good luck. I'm looking forward to it. And we will be right here watching it live together on the watch party. And like I said, I could be wrong. I'm not making a prediction yet. I'm just saying. In all the years I've been watching football, the deeper you go in the playoffs, like in the semifinal game, in the championship game, you got to score some points. You got to score some points. Because you see, Penn State, unlike Georgia, Penn State has a damn good old line. A damn good old line. And two damn good running backs, Allen and Singleton. Unlike Georgia, Penn State has a seasonal veteran at quarterback, starting at quarterback in that Orange Bowl, and Drew Allen, that can carve you up. He could kill you in multiple ways. He can get you in the air, and he can get you on the ground. So that loading up 8, 9 men in the box, like what you did on Georgia, and the first time starting quarterback, I highly, strongly advise you not to do that. And another thing that Penn State team is bringing is a tight end. In my opinion, a tight end that is damn near unstoppable. That Tyler Warren. Now, I love me some Brock Bowers. I do. Brock Bowers, 2-time Mackey Award winner. Brock Bowers, love him. But that Tyler Warren, that kid right there is a totally different animal. And whatever team in the NFL is lucky enough to get him, he's going to take that franchise to a whole nother level. I would love to see him in the Falcons uniform. But that's for another topic. But everyone, make sure you hit that like button on your way out. Thank you all for coming out and joining me on the dog call. Leave a comment in the comment section. Let me know, how do you feel, Georgia Bulldogs fans? How do you feel about the pickup with Zachariah Branch and also his brother Zion? They came as a package deal. Kind of reminds me of when Colorado got Dion. You got Dion, you get Dion, you get Shador. You get Dion and Shador, you get Travis Hunter. You get Dion, Shador, and Travis Hunter, you get Shiloh. Now, I'm not saying the package deal is like that sweet, but Zachariah Branch, you get Zion. You get both of the Branch brothers. And you feel two needs that we desperately need, because we're losing Malachi Starks and Dan Jackson. So we definitely need all the help that we can get in that secondary. So that is huge with Zion, and definitely huge with Zachariah. I love the move, but that's just a little tweak, and we have a long way to go, in my opinion, to become what we want to become. We need to work on that O-line. So leave a comment in the comment section. Do you agree with me? Do you believe that this Zachariah Branch pickup will it automatically take us to the next level, or do you agree with me that we also need to work on that O-line? We need to work on the trenches. The D-line, I'm not too much concerned about, but the tackling needs to improve, and that can be improved. Because I remember back in 2020, the year before we had that historic defense, that defense had problems tackling in 2020. Let's go look at the tape. They had problems tackling in open field in space, but they improved the following year. So those are the points that I make. There's some things that can be improved, but that O-line has some serious issues, and I think we need to start at the top. We need to make changes at the top. Whoever the O-line's coach is, get him up out of here and get someone in here that can have that O-line, playing hard like Matt Luke had them. That's just my opinion. So leave a comment in the comment section. Let me know, do you agree? If you disagree, leave a comment in the comment section. Hit that like button on your way out. If you haven't subscribed already, make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell. All right, everyone. Thank you all for joining me here on the Dawg Call. And if you're in the Georgia area, please be safe. Please prepare yourself. Get plenty of water. Get batteries. Get all the necessary products that you need just in case there's any power outages. We have some terrible inclement weather that's supposed to be headed our way. Winter storm supposed to be headed our way. So please make sure you prepare for that. All right. And on that note, like I always say, until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. And no matter what, win, lose, or draw, it's always going to be go Dogs. Sick 'em. Woo, 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 woo. This has been the Dawg Call.